Rob, if you want to call Rob.
Okay, thanks, Al. Hi, everybody. I'll try to do a 180. Make sure I don't miss anybody. It's great being here. A lot of energy in the room, even for a Friday. There'll probably be more energy tonight, I imagine, with students. So I'm just going to take you a bit on a little bit of a journey and try to throw out some basic things that maybe might appear in the odd textbook. I'm not textbook, I guess, because I didn't take Biz 20 or whatever at Western when I went to university in London, Ontario. I probably maybe should have, but I didn't. But then again, it wouldn't have been that exciting of a ride, and I wouldn't have earned as many stress points as I have. And that's why I look so old for a grandfather. Not. So anyway, you know, I talk a little bit about that. I think, you know, it's environment and genetics. You know, if you want to win a gold medal, it's like a friend of mine that called me yesterday that I'm outfitting in product now that he's retired. I don't know why I'm doing it now. But Simon Whitfield, who won a gold medal. You know, you've got to choose your parents wisely if you want to win a gold medal, so to speak. But then a lot of it's your life experience and, you know, things that shape who you are now, who you are later, that really make you want to get into what you want to do later on as far as motivation goes. You know, and for me growing up in Toronto, anybody from Toronto? Yay! See? Do they pick on you? No? Good. Anyway, so for me growing up in Toronto, back a long time ago, I middle-class family until my dad, who was an insurance salesman for London Life, had a heart condition. And I guess I'm in the health business a little bit. And the seed for me was planted, I think, because of my dad, who was selling life insurance, that had a heart condition, that couldn't have life insurance, that had surgery done on him. I remember being in the hospital just before they did the surgery, but then that was the last time I saw him as a 6-year-old. They said they learned a lot by doing the surgery, but he was gone. So I sort of father checked out, so to speak, unfortunately. And back then, Mom had to sell the house to pay the doctor's bills and other things. Mom couldn't support me, so I got passed on to some family I didn't know, which was interesting. So I'm just throwing all this fun stuff out right away, okay? But it shapes an environment or a life experience that shaped who I am and why I get into certain things. And you know, I'm sort of feel like I'm rewarded by those negative things, unfortunately. I'm not saying everybody has to have a negative lifestyle or environment to have something good happen, but we do get shaped by our past experience. So for me, you know, getting to public school and high school, eventually once my mom and I were able to find an apartment we could afford, and I went to school, I couldn't really join a lot of sports because we didn't have money, so I couldn't register. And I remember going out for football at high school, you know, and the guys were, you know, my friends, because that's how you sort of meet people, right, in some cases in sports. So I decided I'd try a sports thing, and because I don't look like a football player. You know, my best friend played for the Argos and Winnipeg and stuff, but yeah, good.
Sorry.
And that's okay, you're allowed. And but you know, it's like you have certain life experiences, you've got certain genetics, you know, you've got certain like body types, you know, ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. So you've got your ectomorphs that are me. You know, I've got the pain threshold of a firm handshake. I'm the guy with the sand in the face at the beach, you know. And then you got your mesomorphs, which are the football guys, right? Where the coach threw the ball and said, "Reid, go get it." And then I had 40 of my friends on top of me, tackled me. And it wasn't a lot of fun. You know, they like playing tennis by jumping over the tennis nets and beating each other with tennis rackets. Like there's different personality types with different body builds and that sort of thing, right? So for me, I found that maybe it was going to be running. So I decided to get into it a little bit. And because I found out, you know, for cross country and track that they didn't tackle, and that was really good. So I went out and did a little bit of running, but it wasn't really until I was at university. I did a phys ed, kinesiology degree, and some social work, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a clue. I just thought I'd take that because it sounded good, and I went to King's College because I heard the food was good. And I had this phys ed prof in the kinesiology program who went out for a run every day. He went out for a run every day, and I thought, how can somebody that old run every day? The guy's at least 40, you know? And so I started running with him, and there was another prof that ran with him, and they took a couple of us under their wing, and we started running. And we're doing these runs, you know, from his house on the weekend even and stuff. And then this was like, you know, January, and he said, you know, in April we go to this little run, that you should come to this run with us. And I said, sure, I could get away for a couple hours. He says, we're going to Boston. And I said, what's that? Why would you go to Boston to run? That's a long way from London, Ontario. But I sort of got hooked into marathoning after running the Boston Marathon, back before your parents were pretty well born, I think. So to me, it became an activity of choice. I think the seed was planted having a parent that had a heart condition. To me, fitness was important, so I was into fitness. It was part of my ADHD approach to life, where I wanted to harness my overactivity level, sort of do something with it. So I thought, why not run 26 miles, 385 yards? But then the endorphins came, and I was even more alert and hyper after that. But running marathons were a way for me to sort of cope, I think, maybe with some depression at the same time. So it was something, it was an outlet for me that was really important. And when you're out running for 2 hours and, you know, 50 minutes or whatever, you got a lot of time to think about things. So, and plan things and be creative maybe. So it's, everybody needs an outlet, I think, whether it's, you know, art, music, you know, or an activity. It helps with the balance. So it's a good time to think about that. And I guess that's why if we look at the IT companies, they've got foosball and they got all that stuff going on, because you need to sort of use a different part of your brain some of the time. And that usually will pay off later on when you're becoming more creative or inventing things, what have you, or planning your future. So from genetics to life experience, I started using sort of what seeds were planted when I was young, maybe a little disadvantaged financially, sort of a, you know, awkward, not a great parenting situation for my mom and myself. And I sort of started going in a certain path. And marathoning was part of it. So I finished university and followed the U-Hauls out west, as many other Torontonians have, which is good. And I ended up teaching in Alberta, south of Calgary, sort of 300 people in the town, which is a bit of a shock from Toronto. And a bunch of cows and people and stuff. And it was interesting. I was teaching in a school where half the kids were First Nations and half were sort of town kids. And the First Nation kids, I was teaching grade 5 and 6, and a lot of the kids were at a grade 2 reading level, which is really bizarre. And it was really awkward for them, and I don't think it was the best system for them to get the most out of their education. But I wasn't there to, well, the problem was I didn't really follow the curriculum as a teacher. Can I say that now? So I got into fun stuff with them as much as possible. I put on a cross-country running race at the school, which was interesting because it was the first time where all the First Nation kids went away with all the awards and medals and stuff, which normally at the school they didn't have an athletic program so much for all the students. So that was sort of fun, sort of shaking that up a little bit. But I went into Calgary and I ended up counseling at the Boys and Girls Club with high school dropouts out of high schools for a while. And I was juggling. Do I go into life insurance like Dad? Do I do this teaching thing because I've been in school for how many years and the only other role models I know are teachers, so do I automatically become a teacher? You know, or I can't live on my running even though I've been winning the Calgary Marathon for 4 years in a row because nobody ever shows up in Calgary to run a marathon, so I keep winning the marathon. And that was okay. You know, I got an extra large Gore-Tex jacket out of it once that I gave away to a guy. So, you know, it was a great activity for me, and but you know, I was almost, in some sense, I was like a runner first, father second, and working at a job third in some ways, were my priorities. I was so addictive to the running part, which I thought maybe I should make this pay off. And I was sponsored by Nike at the time, the marketing company. They don't always have the best product, but they maybe do the best marketing. So they sell more. And you know, I talk about suppliers where some suppliers have their product dialed in, and that's great. But if they've got a bad management, you know, for their company, it sucks. You know, they do not get the results that they could get, and it's really frustrating sometimes. And having been in the industry for about 35 years, and watched all these companies jump around in who's doing best in what area. It's really interesting to see how both of those have to be in sync for it to work the best. So I was being sponsored by Nike, and I saw this store. There was a curling store in Calgary on Center Street near 12th Avenue. Anybody know that store? But anyway, it was a curling store, and it was closed for half the year, and I thought, maybe I could sell some shoes. I'd just come from university in Ontario, where two guys I know, they basically were importing shoes in the back of their car from Pennsylvania, Mike and Paul. And Mike and Paul went to high school not that far from me, and I used to watch Mike win all the races, and his brother not far behind him, and I'd be back in the pack because I'd be having a few Big Macs, and I'd go out and run the cross countries once a year at high school, but I'd see these guys finish. But they were importing shoes in the back of their car now across the border, and it's quite interesting hearing about it. But I ended up buying a pair from them, and I thought, why don't I do something? Maybe I can get some shoes from them and sell some shoes. But I ended up getting tackled in Calgary by this guy named John Frisani, because he was a football player. They were all football players, the Frisani family. And John had started these stores called Frisani's Locker Rooms, which were little sports stores in malls around Calgary. Because, Calgary is a town of many malls in a lot of ways. And I decided to work for John, but I said, I want to do a running store. And he says, what's a running store? Because in 1979, there weren't a lot of stores that were running stores specifically. Like, why would you want to go for a run? Like, people were just sort of not into that so much yet. There wasn't really a running boom as far as activity goes. But there was a need for a specialized store. And if we look at retail, which, isn't that exciting for some of us, but some of us, shopping is a recreational sport, isn't it? You've got your big box stores, you've got your specialty chains, and then you've got maybe locally owned and operated stores. And I wanted to be more of a locally owned and operated store, even though it was John Frisani that owned it. And this is pre him buying Sport Chek and becoming the largest sporting goods retailer in Canada. I was sort of there on the bottom floor with him and his partner and a handful of people that ran his business. And we started a store, and I put together a booklet for John saying, this is what a running specialty store is about. So it's about this sort of product, and we hold these sort of running clinics, and we offer we bring medical people in to talk about different issues. It's all health related. And we might take a shoe that's a product, but we turn that into more than just selling a shoe. We're selling a service, and we're selling an experience. And so I sort of got into that with John, and he said, well, let's do it together. We'll open the tech shop, which we opened on 4th Street, and then we opened up one in Edmonton. So we did that. And I did that for a few years, and I said, oh, wow, why am I working so hard? I like to build things. I'd rather do my own thing. And so I ended up partnering with a guy in Vancouver to do a store as I moved out west, further west, and we decided to do a store in Victoria. And Peter was very different from me. We sort of were a bit of a dichotomy. I sort of said, I think I'm going to get into fitness. I'm going to promote running. I want to do this because I want to do it. Where he was an accountant, and he said, well, show me the books, show me the numbers, can this work? And I guess you have to have a bit of a balance. Peter might have been more one way, and me obviously way over this way, because I look at my financial statements now, but I don't want to worry about how much I'm paying in my leases, which right now are about $4,000 a month I pay in leases. I don't even look at that stuff, or I won't sleep at night. But I said, how about this location? He said, how about that location? Retail is location, location, location. And he said, it's too busy in that area. Is that a really good location? I said, give me busy. He said, but it's cheaper over here. And I said, no, 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 no. I want people. We got to get shoppers. So we opened by London Drugs, Yates in Vancouver. And at one point in that store, because timing can be everything, and I'll just cover off timing can be everything. Back then, and this is sort of the dark ages, there was a thing called the newspaper. People would buy, okay? And they would and you'd turn pages and look at ads and read articles and things, right? It's only $1 still. It's down to $1. It might be 10 cents next week. But I would advertise. You could advertise on TV, radio. We got too many radio stations, Victoria. Radio or newspaper. And I worked out a deal with New Balance Shoes, who was a company identified as there weren't a lot of New Balance being sold on the island. It was a brand that was getting better. because they did width sizing. So if you're a lady with size 5 feet AA, they're going to have an athletic shoe for you. Right now we got dress shoes, but athletic shoe at that time. If you're a guy, size 22, 6E, and you get asked to just stomp out forest fires all over BC, they've got a shoe that size. It's unbelievable. So I promoted width sizing with a shoe in an ad, quarter page, and every day of the year. And people would call in and say, have you got that shoe? I said, yeah, that's why we advertise it. And they'd go, well, we don't get to Victoria much. We live in Sydney. And I said, Australia? And they said, no, up the highway. And I said, well, get in here. And so people started coming in, and we set a North America record sales per square foot for New Balance shoes in Victoria on an island. It was crazy. And there was one Tuesday afternoon. The store was full of people. And I'm saying, what are you all doing here buying shoes on a Tuesday afternoon? Like, duh, isn't there other things to do? And that's when I decided maybe I better get a bigger store, which I went from $4,000 to $12,000 a month, stupid me, in a bigger store. But it's a really nice store. We've won all kinds of awards for the interior. And that's another problem because I like doing interiors, so I spend money doing stores, and then anyway, close the stores. But somebody benefits down the road. But so we set a record. So timing is everything. The print ad marketing at that point was a good thing. Right now, it's like all over the place. Like, oh my God, you know? Like I need to hire somebody here to do social media. But we'll talk about that later. So it's a different world now. But back then there was that, you know? So then I had this small store. And at the time, just before that as well, before I was able to do all that stuff, because that would have been Peter that would have said, no, you're not running an ad every day because that's going to cost us money. So I couldn't do that with Peter. So before I was able to do that, Peter and I had made another critical error, or had made a critical error. It's the absentee owner sort of exercise in your textbook. And I'm not textbook, but it's probably in there somewhere, about having a business where you're not really there. And we'd expanded to Calgary. The store wasn't doing well. It was open a couple of years. Tried to go back and forth. I had a management person in Victoria. Do you guys cover HR? Oh my God, it's a nightmare. But I had a guy managing the store who always told people he was my partner. Duh, like give me a break. And he wasn't the best manager. I found out years later when I got called by the competition saying, where's your partner opening up the new store? And I said, I didn't know my manager is opening a store. Oh, he is. Oh, okay. So I phoned a supplier and I say, so can you tell me if so-and-so, I'm not going to mention his name or I'll get another letter from the legal department. I won't say it. Anyway, so I phoned a supplier. They say, no, we can't confirm that rumor is correct. And I said, thank you for confirming that rumor, because it was correct, I guess. And so that was happening. And at the same time, Peter decided to close the store in Calgary. And luckily for me, I'm doing running clinics, meeting people in the community, having them come to get fit and reach a goal, you know. And for me, marathoning was it was like a vitamin C for confidence, really, for me. And that's what running marathons was, because I was that scrawny kid at school, couldn't really do anything half-assed right, but I could put one foot in front of the other, and eventually I could run 26 miles, 385 yards in about 2 hours, 20 minutes, which, top 10 in Canada wasn't bad back then. And it was good for me, even though, I probably got more thinner and more frail looking, but I was fast for a long time. And so what happened was this guy, and I'm trying not to mention names, Dave Gibson, or companies that they worked for, like Thrifty Foods at the time. But Dave owned Thrifty Foods Mill Bay, and he said, well, what if I guarantee a bank loan? He said, how much money did you put into this business? I said, $10,000. He said, oh, okay, well, what if I guarantee a bank loan for $80,000? And why am I saying this, he said to himself, because you'll never pay me back. But he put in $80,000 to meet a bank loan so I could buy my partner out. So now I took over the Victoria store. I went back and closed the Calgary store. And for me, it was great having a Calgary store because I had 2 kids that were still living there. And I had basically moved out here to start my business, and the kids were there with their mom. And I only have 1 wife per province and 1 set of kids per province. So we won't get into that story. Okay? But so I came out here, and it was all about marathoning the business, all that stuff, right? So we get the store going, I get the ads going, it's growing, it's doing great. You know, like the accountant calls me, and if I need something, it's the accountant. Like, oh my God, they've been so amazing for me. So, you know, we sit down, we go, oh, geez, we got $200,000 profit this year. And the bank's got an overdraft because you have to have about $400,000 of inventory to turn those sales about 1.5 times a year. And you're actually turning them about 2.4. As far as retail goes, you have to keep turning your inventory. And if you've got dead inventory, it's costing you more and more to have it sit on the shelf, right? It's that expiry date on a piece of fruit or something almost, right? So there's all these little things that come into it, but I'm not an expert because I didn't take Biz 20 at school. I was just sort of learning as I went. But luckily, I was building up clientele fast enough, moving shoes fast enough, and I had an accountant that knew what he was doing, that I was able to turn a profit and hire more staff, and then do a store in Nanaimo with 2 of the staff. And I called it a hybrid franchise because we just made the rules up organically, and that's how I've done my business, because I just sort of do it because I think it's the right thing to do, which isn't really good, and I shouldn't be telling you this. Should I? No, sorry, okay. But buy those textbooks, okay? So anyway. But so luckily for me, things were thriving, and I moved the small store into a larger store. It cost me $12,000 a month. And we redesigned this new store. And actually, I had Simon Whitfield carrying the stock over with me, who gold medal guy. He just got back from Sydney. That was so cool. Simon's in the store, and he just got back from like winning that gold medal in Sydney. And he's saying, "What's up?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. There's a kids cross country event this Thursday, elementary school. Some of you might have been running in it." I said, "Why don't you come down?" So I told the coaches, and there were 400 kids around the outside of Beacon Hill Park. And it was like Beatlemania. Well, no, some of you, Beatles were a music group anyway. So, but it was really cool. So he was high-fiving all the kids, you know, gold medal guy, and running with the last kid in each of the races. And this friend of his comes down and says, "Where's Simon?" I said, "Well, he's way back there with the last kid in the race, keeping the kid going." "Oh, that's cool, but he has to leave right away." And I said, what's up? And he goes, "Well, you know, there's been this article about him and some of his heroes, and for him, one person that he looked up to was Sir Edmund Hillary, who climbed Everest. He's supposed to be having dinner with him in Vancouver tonight. He's supposed to go over and catch this flight right away," sort of thing. But that's Simon, another big-hearted guy, right? He was just doing the right thing. So it's fun with some of the things you end up doing. So we get the big store going, and I work more with suppliers, and it makes a difference. And then we open another store in Langford, and that's okay too. And then New Balance approaches me about doing stores that they're doing, corporate stores, New Balance stores, and I didn't touch on this in the last group. So I'm having president with this guy who's top Fortune 500 guy who owns New Balance. New Balance is the only shoe company owned by one guy, Jim Davis. We're having lunch in Victoria because that's the kind of guy he does. He gets in his corporate jet from Boston, flies to Victoria, says, "I'm going to make my way across Canada, but I'm stopping here for lunch to meet with you." We go for lunch. He says, "Nice town." He says, "Do you think you could ever get a store location on Government Street?" I said, "I don't know." He says, "Well, do it." Okay, whatever. So I'm meeting with a friend of mine through another friend and that other friend. And that friend says that store on the corner of you and Government might be willing to shut down or relocate, as the other store is going to move into its space, and then they're going to trade, and then these things could happen. And I'm going, "Okay, I trust you." So I end up sitting down with this guy that reminds me of Tony Soprano, and he's from Vancouver. I was used to it in Toronto. Like, I miss the Italian food in Toronto. Anyway, but we sit down, and he's saying, "I've got $100,000 worth of clothing, which is dresses and stuff. Give me a break. And if you want my lease for this space, you're going to buy my inventory, and then I'll give you the lease." And I'm saying, "Oh, do I have to? I suck at negotiating. Okay, I'll do it." So I write a check. Like, wait a sec, I started with $10,000. Now I'm like writing a check for women's dresses for $100,000. Like, what am I doing? So I do that. We're selling out this clothing of this clothing store to take over the lease, to reopen, make it into a New Balance corporate store. I forget some of these things I do because they're just so crazy. But that's how we got this location on Government Street, which is like a great location. And we opened up a New Balance store. That'd be like 11 years ago. And it's doing okay. And I've got a great manager in there. And one thing I was able to say to Norm and Steph in Nanaimo and Mark and Nick in Langford, where we did the running stores, is I said, you know, we're sort of runners trying to be retailers. And that's why some of us has tripped over our feet for like 20 years. But you sort of learn as you go. And if you don't learn as you go, you're not going to get there. I hired a manager from the Bay, Eaton's, that sort of stuff. And Glenn at the New Balance store is outstanding. And he's a retailer, which has really been great. So we have that blend happening between my two sort of company stores, right? So that's a lot of fun. So, you know, the business is one thing, but you have to be more than a store. You have to be a lifestyle. And for me, it's been sort of building all the pieces out around the store, the running clinics, and getting